Hi guys and welcome back. You join me in the workshop today because we've got an exciting project starting. So a customer's reached out to me and they want to make their existing table a little bit bigger. So we're not going to be touching the base of the table. They're fine, they're happy with that. But we're going to be taking their existing tabletop off and replacing it with a new oak tabletop. It's going to be 2.1 long with breadboard ends and 1200 deep. Basically what they want is to be able to sit a row of people on one side, a row of people on the other side, and have a row of plates down the middle. So they need another 8 inches on their existing tabletop. So what I've got over here is some lovely boards of oak here. So these are 38mm thick by about 100mm wide and 2.1 long at the moment. So we do need to plane them and cut them and everything else, but I'm going to be doing that today, and then tomorrow we're going to look at getting it all jointed together if we can get it all done in a day. We might be able to get some of it done today depending on how long it's going to take me to get through that stack, but I'm imagining about 3 hours maybe to get through that. So we'll see, because it's going to be a tabletop. It needs to be nice and flat and machined really well. So I'm going to be getting through that. I'm going to take you guys on the journey. I'm going to build up this really lovely tabletop, and then we're going to go and get it installed on the customer's house. So let's get into it. And there we have it, guys. That's the timber all planed up and all thicknessed up, and it's come up lovely actually. I'm really happy with the quality of this timber. It's come up really lovely. We've got a few knots in there, but nothing too drastic. We've probably got about 5 knots over all of this timber, and they're minute, so it's really clear. It's going to look lovely as a tabletop. Took me about 2 hours and 25 minutes maybe, somewhere around there. I didn't really clock what time I started, so it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but yeah, it still took a while because I was being ultra fussy. I really wanted to get these nice and flat and true. Being a tabletop, it needs to be flat. So yeah, next thing we will need to do is I want to go through and just, as you can see the painted edges on these, I want to clean the edges up on them, just purely because when I stack these, I want to orientate the grain the right way round. So I'm going to clean the ends up just so I can really see what I'm doing with that, just to make sure that I'm not putting 2 bits of grain going the right way. So yeah, that's the next thing. Jump on the chop saw, clean the ends up on them, and then we can actually look at getting this together, like glued up into one big slab. So let's do that. Okay, so that's everything cut to length. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some dominoes in here, purely for alignment, just to make it easier when I glue up, because this is a big old lump to glue up. I am going to glue it in one lump because I've got clamps long enough to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 4 dominoes along the length of these, only 5x30s. Like I said, just purely to help with alignment more than anything. So yeah, I'm going to measure them all out, all from one end. So if there is any discrepancy in these lengths, because I didn't measure them that exact, we should get a nice square edge on one end. So I'm going to come in maybe 250, come in 500 and do the same from the other side, something like that. I haven't decided yet. Just, yeah, purely for alignment's sake. So let me do that. Okay guys, so that's everything dominoed and we're ready to go with the glue up. I am going to leave you guys in the corner over there because this is quite an important glue up and I need to get it right. So yeah, I don't want to be messing about with the camera, so I am going to leave you guys there. I've got these two clamping cauls, if you like, on the bench just to lift it up so I can get clamps underneath it, and then I'm going to use my two 4-foot spirit levels, one for each end, just to try and keep this as flat as possible so we've got less work to do afterwards. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to leave you guys there and just crack on with this one. So yeah, just watch from there. Morning guys, so we're back in the workshop again. It all got a bit stressful last night and the battery died on the camera and I wanted to make sure this was right, so I just ceased recording. But I wanted to show you my little setup that we've got here. So obviously we're all clamped up. We've got the spirit levels either end as clamping causes that work really, really well. Happy accident that I found out with that for checking with twist. If you use spirit levels, you can use the bubble on your spirit level to check for twist. So as long as these are both sitting level, you know you're not in twist. So that was a happy accident that I didn't expect to happen. But anyway, I'm going to get this all unclamped now, and then we need to start machining our breadboard ends on here. So we've got the mortises, tenons, drawboard dowels to do on there. I think I'm going to go drawboard dowels. I probably am. So yeah, got quite a bit of work to do on this today, but it's looking good. I'm really happy with the glue up on this. Okay guys, so that's everything mostly flattened out. You saw that I just took my little scraper plane and cleaned up some of this glue on the ends where we need to machine. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the tenons on the end of this for the breadboard ends. So I'm going with a 1/2 inch mortise chisel in the mortiser when we come to put the mortise holes on the ends. I've set my track up so this is in the right place. I've checked it's all nice and square, so we should be good to go. I'm going to use my Trend T10 router to go through this and yeah, just put the ends on basically. So it's going to be a bit dusty in here, but we need to make some mortises, some tenons, sorry. So let's do that now. Okay guys, so that's the tenons all done on the end of there. Not gonna lie, that was a lot of work and there's a lot of mess on the floor. I will show you in a second. I've just marked out for my mortises on the end of here. What I need to do first is put it on the table saw and run a through groove right the way through to accept these haunches. I could do it on the mortiser, but it's going to be a hell of a lot easier and cleaner doing it on the table saw with my 5mm grooving blade. So we'll do that first, get that groove right the way through, and then we'll jump on the mortiser and just take these mortises out right to depth. You will see the haunch on the end of the table, but I quite like that. I think that's going to look quite nice. You can see here I've just put an offset line just on there, just so I know that that's the mortise, not that bit. Just makes it easier when you're in the middle of it, not thinking about it. You did see I put the line in the middle there, but then realised once I groove this, I'm going to groove that line away, so I've just put them offset so I can see them. So yeah, table saw, and then let's get the haunch material removed from here, then mortiser. Rightio guys, so that's the sides all on, as you've seen, all fitting up lovely. Can you see the gap we've got down here? We need to close that up, and I'm going to do that by doing drawbore dowels. So I've got 12mm dowel here, and what we're going to do is drill a 12mm hole through, obviously while this is off, not through the tenon, and then we're going to offset our hole by 2mm back in this direction, and then I've tapered the ends of these, so as I drive that in, it will pull this top on. I'm going to get a long clamp on there as well to pull it up, and it's just going to pull all of these shoulders up nice and tight, and meaning they never come back off. Okay, so now we've got a hole drilled, and I've put a massive clamp on there. I'll show you guys in a second the clamp. Yeah, that's pulled this shoulder up nice and tight. So what we're going to do is take a 12mm drill bit. This isn't ideal, a Forstner bit would have been better, but I haven't got a 12mm one. So we're just going to pop that in there, and that's going to mark the bottom of our hole, and then I'll offset, but I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so I've put a little pencil mark on there, hope you guys can see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset the same drill bit by about 2mm. And then I'm just going to use the drill bit as a centre punch. And then that's where I'm going to drill my hole, if that makes sense. I hope you guys can see that. So the original hole was there, that one's there. And when I put these tapered dowels in, it's going to pull the whole shoulder up. Okay, I forgot to mention to you guys, this middle hole is just a 12mm hole, exactly the same as it should be. This end one, or the end ones I should say, all of the end ones, I need to elongate this way and this way, but being careful not to make it go this way. So yeah, just so seasonal growth can happen on the end here, because when we glue this up, we're only going to glue this middle tenon, so the other ones are essentially floating, so the dowel's going to be the thing that holds this joint together. So let's do that. Okay guys, so we've jumped forward a couple of days now, just because it's been the weekend and then I had to go out on site and do a few jobs. So this has been sitting here for a couple of days, but it's now time to get this all cleaned up. We've got one more thing that we need to do to the base of this table, and that's to put some metal supports in there just to make sure the thing stays nice and flat when it's installed. But ultimately what I'm going to do now, which I'm not going to film, is just give this thing a really, really good sand down, and then we're going to flip it over and we can turn our attention just to putting these metal braces in, just to try and keep this as flat as possible, really. Last thing we want to do is install this and then it starts to cup. It shouldn't do because it's breadboard ends, but you know, natural timber, different environments, changing seasons and all that. So for the sake of putting some metal braces in there, it's not going to hurt. So yeah, like I said, next time you'll see this, it'll be upside down and I'll be working on that. Okay guys, so here we are on the underside of the table. I've got this all nice and flat now. I haven't sanded the other side yet because I didn't want to scratch it while sliding it around and that. But what I've got is I've got these these are the twin slot shelf bars, if you know what they are. If not, I'll put a picture up on screen now. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use these to help keep it stable because they're nice and firm and rigid. So I'm going to measure in 650mm from each side, get these lined out, draw them, and then I'm going to use the track saw to cut this slot here, if you can see that. Can you see that? Yeah, the track saw to cut this slot here, and then I'm going to rebate down the rest of the material with the router, just the thickness of that, maybe a couple of mil under, just so that when we put it on the table base, it's not sitting proud. So yeah, just these, they're going to help keep everything nice and flat. I will have to elongate these holes on here just to allow for seasonal movement as well though. The middle couple I won't have to, but the outside two here and here, I'll have to elongate them just so that it can move. Okay guys, so that's the bottom all sanded up. As far as I'm going to go anyway, is the underside. It's not, doesn't need to be sanded as much as the top, but obviously we still want a decent finish on there because, you know, when people put their hands underneath the table and that, we don't want it to feel all rough, so that's all nice. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my laser engraver and just put my logo quite small in the middle. Yeah, it doesn't need to be massive at all, so we'll run that in there and then we can look at cutting the horns off, turning this over, sanding the other side, then we can look at getting some finish on. So we're nearing the end, but stick around because I am going to show you this installed. We're going to do the install on this as well. So yeah, put the logo on and then cut the horns off, flip it over. Right guys, so I've sanded this for about 6 hours now, like not even exaggerating. I've gone over this with a fine tooth comb. You can see in the background it's got a nice sheen on it. I've sent some sample photos over to the customer on a finish, and we've settled on a hard wax oil in clear satin, so I'm going to get that on now. Ultimately I'm going to do 2 coats on the bottom and 2 coats on the top. It's important to do that when you're doing this kind of thing because you don't want it to take on moisture at different levels, because that's when you'll start getting cupping and bowing. So yeah, 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top. But obviously I won't show you all 4 coats, but I'm going to show you getting this on now. And then once we've got this all oiled up, we can go and install it. Happy days. There we have it, guys. That is the tabletop all done. That was a little bit stressful, that one, I'm not gonna lie, getting it in there, but we're done. This, by the way, is John. John, move over here a little bit. There's John.
Hi guys.
John is, if you guys aren't aware yet, if you're not on the membership, press the little join button down the bottom by the like button, and you'll see there, because we're actually doing work in John's house at the minute. Knocking through your porch into your bathroom, won't we, to make that a bit smaller. So yeah, go over there and have a little look at that. I'm going to leave you with some photos of the tabletop now, so you can see it all in action. I've taken the other one away, so if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, because I've got exciting things coming for that tabletop, so you'll be able to see that. But without further ado, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Hit that like button for me, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.